I don't know about you guys. I'm tired of the Instagram videos. I'm tired of looking at highlight clips. Joel Embiid is almost there. Baby steps. He's on track to debut in the preseason, according to head coach Brett Brown. We're here to talk about it today. Kyle Gaffner is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. It's been a while. It's been quiet on the Sixers front.
There hasn't been too much to talk about on basketball. We've gotten through the draft. We've gone through free agency. We've touched a little bit on the Olympics, but it's all starting to come to an end now.
Yeah, we'll touch on some Sharks at the end of this video. We'll talk about his last couple games. We talked about his first, 3 or 4 games last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was that we did a show. But we'll talk about his final 3 today. But we're going to start with Embiid. Brown appeared on Zach Lowe's podcast last week and, had some comments. Zach Lowe basically asked him straight up, is Embiid on track to play in the preseason? And he said yes. And here were some comments. I just left my 3rd consecutive day workout with Joel a half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, 10 minutes before you and I got on the phone. He's just so on track. He's on track in his head. He's on track physically. I do hear what you say, him dunking on a little workout ain't getting it done anymore. I do agree with that, but I will tell you, behind closed doors, physically, mentally, recent scans, medically, everything is pointing in the right direction. We're just very excited. And we're excited as well. I can't wait to watch Embiid play. Jesus Christ, holy shit, he's coming. He's almost here.
Finally, it's like on Christmas Day when you're a little kid, you wait all year for it, and finally that day's here, and that's what it kind of is for us. 2014, we got a little touch of him last year. We saw these workout videos, something to get excited about, and then it was taken away when he had that injury. But it's finally here. Everything seems to be medically checked out. He's in shape. I'm so excited. I'm ecstatic. I cannot wait. It's just so much to offer this year for the Sixers.
Yeah, and the other thing, obviously, to take into account that there's got to be some patience exemplified here. We're going to get into that in a second, but another quote from Brown. There really has to be a high degree of patience that he has to first have with himself. He really didn't play basketball his junior year in high school. He played, I think, 10 minutes his senior year in high school. He played 70% of his first college year. He was injured his first 2 NBA seasons. I mean, just do the math, the timeline, the minutes on the basketball court. So obviously he hasn't played a lot recently, injuries and all that. He's such a raw type of talent. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle him to begin. How many minutes do you see him kind of playing? Forget about the preseason, but regular season to start out. What are you seeing?
12 to 15 minutes. I don't see them going over that. They've had baby gloves on him the entire time. I don't see them coming off anytime soon, even with the regular season comes to play, when it comes time for him to come out and play. But I would love for him to come out and play 30 minutes. But yeah, they're going to take it slow with him. Because why rush it? Because if he is that talent, what we all expect him to be, you don't want to rush him along and get him hurt again.
Yeah, I see the same exact thing. Like 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 once he kind of gets going a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of keep pushing him and pushing him and pushing him, because I do think by like the second half of the year, maybe even the end of the year, he'll be in that starting lineup.
Definitely. And it's interesting to see, too, what this would do with the other dynamics of the team. We all know that Noel and Okafor don't play together, so how are they going to work that in there, too? I think he will have a minutes limit on him, too, throughout the season. I don't think he's going to play all 82 games either.
Yeah. I don't think he'll play like some back-to-backs and stuff. Like, the second of a back-to-back, he might not play, stuff like that. So if there's like three games in 4 days, he won't play that 3rd game. I can see that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of starting lineup the Sixers tried out there on opening night against the Thunder.
Yeah, we open up with – it's not like we open up with some mediocre team. We open up with a playoff team. Minus Kevin Durant on there, but it's still a powerhouse of a team. And we're on ESPN, so we're on nationally too, so that's going to be exciting. The new look Sixers on national TV finally. We're back there.
Now, let's think about this for a second, all right? So if Embiid's not going to start, what do you kind of see? I mean, what are we going to get? Well, maybe Jared Bayless, Gerald Henderson, Covington, Okafor, and obviously Ben Simmons, that he'll probably play the 4.
You think he'll play the 4?
Well, to start, yeah. I mean, he's gonna be your point forward, but he's your point guard. But I think he'll be the 4 to start.
He probably will. I see that. The 2 free agents we definitely signed are going to be in the starting lineup just because there's vets and we're such a young team trying to help these young guys along. But I see Okafor, Ben Simmons, either Covington or Grant, either or. I think
Grant too, yeah, because of the defensive aspect.
Yeah, right. So I think it's going to be a feel for Brett Brown depending on who we're playing. If they want a defensive guy out there rather than a shooter, because Covington isn't that great of a defender, as we all know. And then Bayless will probably play the 2 or the 3. So not the 3. I mean Ben Simmons. So I think they'll switch to offense and defense. Ben Simmons is going to be the point on offense, and then maybe go down on the block for play the 4s. So it'd be interesting to see what they do, and then Noel come off the bench.
Yeah, and also going to be interesting to see how they kind of incorporate all these players together and how they mesh together. Because Saric, you might think, maybe he would play the 3 in the starting lineup, but I'm having a hard time believing he's going to be able to play the 3 at the pro level. I think he's going to be strictly a 4, even though he can play the 3 per se. I mean, he's got to be matched up against the right person to play the 3 because he can't defend that perimeter, right? He just can't do it. I've been watching these games. These unathletic stretch forwards are just taking the ball to the rim against him. Guys like Danilo Gallinari, Andrea Bargnani. I'm having a hard time believing he can guard a 3.
Yeah, when these wing players, when you come in the NBA, they're a lot more athletic. He's very tall and he's stiff. They would just blow right by him. And if guys like Gallinari are blowing past him, imagine what a Kawhi Leonard would do to him.
Oh yeah, goodbye. See ya. Jeez. And he's also going to have to play with the right players. Like off the bench, I think his perfect complement is Noel, because Noel is very, very proficient at defending the perimeter and kind of going out there and guarding that. So I would team up Saric and Noel together, and then by the end of the year, once Embiid kind of gets going, you have him, Simmons, and Okafor all in the starting lineup. That's how I would play.
That's what I would do too, and I hope Noel has to see the bigger picture here and be a team player and come off the bench, just do whatever. But we need a second unit, and I envision this too with Saric coming over here. I don't think him and Ben Simmons, they could probably play together, but since he's kind of like a point forward too, them coming off the bench as the second unit, he could be more of the facilitator and get Nerlens Noel going, or a Jeremy Grant, guys like that off the bench. Sergio Rodriguez, we can't forget about him. He's going to be on the team too, so maybe they can go back and forth. If Sarge doesn't want to be the point, kick it off to him, and then or he could facilitate, dish it out. They're both good on the run.
I'll tell you what, I'm starting to fall in love with Sergio. I love watching him play. I made that comparison the last show. He reminds me of White Chocolate, Jason Williams. So flashy. His ball handling ability is extraordinary. The way he can work the pick and roll situations and those pocket passes he has for the rolling player to the rim. I mean, this guy, he's going to be electrifying. People are going to love him.
I think he's going to be exciting. And do you see him being inserted maybe into the starting role, or is he strictly coming off the bench for the second unit?
I think he'll come off the bench to start, but it would not surprise me at all if he took over Jared Bayless' spot.
Because he can really dish the rock.
He can really dish the rock. His vision is extraordinary, and his shooting ability has gotten better since he went back to Europe. Because when he was a younger player, he was not a good shooter at all. And his form has gotten a little bit better. The way he sets himself quickly. He gets his shot off quickly. So he's done a lot. He's worked hard. You can tell he's worked hard on his shot, and it's a lot better than it was. So he can run the break. I mean, this guy is a wizard. I mean, you can double team him in the corner, right? And he just effortlessly overhead pass, skip pass, finds the open shooters on the wing, in the corner, whatever. This guy is pretty special, actually, distributing rock.
Kind of like Ben Simmons is. So it's a good thing to have a type of passer and a player on your team that can do that. You don't have to worry about getting pinned in the corner. They could just somehow effortlessly get the ball out and still make the play and not get a turnover.
Yeah, I mean, defense might be lacking just a little bit, but But offensive wise, I mean, he's a lot of fun to watch. He really is. All right, so kind of recap Shards just a little bit. So his last 3 games in the Olympics, 2 of the last 3 were a little bit disappointing, and I'm starting to see a trend with him and inconsistency. He'll have some shooting nights where he's spot on, hitting everything, and there's other nights where he doesn't take bad shots either. So there's other nights where he just struggles. He can't find his shot, and those are the nights where he's like 1 of 7, 2 of 8, 2 of 9, and I mean, it was really disappointing when he played Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria. That team had 1 NBA player on its roster, and it was Michael Benije. He was a 2nd-round pick. He's a rookie out of Syracuse. They do have some, past players with NBA experience. They have Ike Diago on their team, and another player on that team is Ebi Ara. He used to be. I don't think he ever made the NBA, but he was on Oklahoma's Final Four team back in 2002. And there's another one. I think his name was Michael Ume. He played for UNLV a couple years ago. But other than that, I mean, he had a smaller player on him, and he was just passing the ball. He was passive, and I didn't like seeing that. I didn't like it. He's not great on the block. I get this, but there were times he was on the block, match up with a defender that was several inches smaller than him, and he was just giving the ball away. And it was disappointing because that is a team that is very, very poorly coached. Bojan fucking Bogdanovic taking all the shots. They play iso ball. So Shards doesn't even get the ball a lot. And when he does, he was very passive in that game. Against Serbia, he was horrible in that game. He kind of let his emotions get the better of him. I talked how I love the way he's fiery and all that. But in this game, it kind of backfired on him. Picked up a technical foul. He got dunked on. That seemed to really stir up the confidence level there. And he was so bad that he didn't even play the last 5 minutes of the game. The coach sat him. Now that was the time where Croatia was kind of charging back into the game. So I can understand, not wanting to halt that momentum. But at the same time, we're talking about Šarić here. I don't understand why he didn't play those last couple minutes of that game. But yeah, I'll send it to you. I just kind of rambled for a little bit.
It's fine. I was going to ask you, do you think his poor play has to do with Bogdan getting him out of rhythm and being such a ball hog, or do you think it's more or less the coach not being able to adjust? And, because we know he's not very strong down there on the block, so do you think you would, as a coach, make an adjustment there?
Yeah, I mean, I was writing these recaps for Philly Influencer, and I was just begging the coach to draw up some plays for him because just get him involved because he's not a guy. He's a selfless player, so he's not asking for the ball. He's not begging for the ball because you could tell from the Nigeria game to the final game of group play against Lithuania, there was more aggressiveness from him. He had a lesser defender on him, and instead of the Nigeria game where he was passing. In this game, he was taking this guy to the hole every single time. So you could tell the coaching staff got his ear. But then against Serbia, it was kind of the same thing. And so we've seen the whole spectrum of him. We've seen him at his best, where he was just wowing me with his passing ability, his vision, the way he can kind of go on the wing and take the ball either all the way to the 10 or pull up for the jumper. And then we've seen that other side of him where he just, I don't know, he just kind of just isn't there. And so we've seen both sides. But overall, I think he's going to make a good transition to the NBA. I think he'll be a solid player. I don't see all-star. I don't see, an upper echelon type of player. But I see a solid, really solid contributor off the bench. Maybe he'll be better than I think. I don't know. But I think he'll be pretty good.
I have confidence in Brett Brown, too, because coaches have a lot to do with bringing that extra talent, I would like to say, out of certain players. Because I like to use this as an example sometimes. Do you think Kawhi Leonard would have turned into the player he was if he was still in Indiana? And I don't think he would have been. I don't think he would have reached that upper echelon unless he got traded to the Spurs and was coached under Greg Popovich. Now, obviously, Brett Brown's not a Greg Popovich. We haven't seen enough for him to coach the type of talent that he has. But I wonder, do you think he could bring the best out of Sarge or a Ben Simmons or whoever?
Yeah, well, it's also going to depend on your drive to hit the gym. Because Kawhi Leonard was a kid that couldn't shoot a lick when he was at San Diego State. Comes to the league, and now he's like one of the better kind of corner shooters in the league. So he can shoot the ball a little bit better, and obviously working on that craft. He's always been obviously a great defender. So we shall see. I mean, I don't really know what to think of Brett Brown yet. It's hard to judge how he can coach because his teams have been so bad. So what can you really do with a bad roster? Well, now we're starting to see the talent come to fruition. Sam Hinkie died for our sins, and now we're going to see what he can really do. This his head coaching gig starts right now.
It starts right now, and for what he has done with the limited players that we've had on this team, I think he's done pretty well. Yeah, we've been one of the worst teams in the league, but you can see that he knows what he's doing. I'm a big fan of Brett Brown. And, he still gave effortless – the players still play effortless when they're out there. When they're down 30, they're still diving for the ball. They still had drive coaching down to the last couple seconds. So I really like him. He has learned under the Popovich tree, like Budenholzer and the rest of them. So Mike Brown. So I really like Brett Brown. I think he could bring out the best in some of these players that are coming over here.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me see if I can find the quote that I really liked. All right, so this is from interview with The Vertical last week, and the question was basically how is he going to handle the loftier expectations now? And here's his quote. We're just going to focus on the things we need to. We have to have the fittest team they've ever been in their lives. They have to be in the greatest shape of their lives. Career best fitness. Everything starts there. If we can get that, then we could go to the next phase, development. We will go overboard on keying on the repetition of skill development. Then it'll be on me to piece these guys together. I feel like the compass remains the same, crazy fitness and incredible attention to skill development. So I like this interview. If you didn't see it, it's on The Vertical, and he had some really kind of eye-popping things to say.
I like that. And do you know how some guys are just for the media and they just like to tell them what they want to hear? Do you really think he's going to back up what he's putting out there?
I'll tell you what. I met him past weekend, and I think he genuinely tells the truth when he's with the media. He is like the nicest guy in the world. This guy, he spent like 5 to 10 minutes just talking with me, just kind of talking basketball. And, he didn't really want to give me too much. I asked to do a video with him, and he wouldn't do it. But he was just like, I'm really excited. I can't wait. Ben Simmons, he kind of just gave me kind of basic stuff. But on those interviews, I can tell he wasn't just giving bullshit answers.
And it sounds like the fittest they ever been. It sounds like a little bit of touch of Chip Kelly there. Let's hope it's not the same results.
Hey, I've said this before. I did not hate Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly is a fine coach. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think. Chip Kelly, all the way. I know everyone's going to now tune off and dislike this video, but that's okay. The guy won with fucking nothing at quarterback. So I don't want to hear it from people. So let's see. Where do we go from here? I mean, Saric and Noel, we talked about that already. All right, so
what about the trade? Let me touch on this. Did you hear about the trade for Noel for Kevin Love?
No, that ain't happening.
Would you do that?
Yes, but that's not.
If at all possible, would you do that?
Yeah, but that's not happening. There's no way that's happening.
You would take Kevin Love, even though we have such a logjam there of players.
Well, I would rather have Kevin Love than Nerlens Noel, but I would. That just doesn't sound like that would be possible.
Interesting.
I want Avery Bradley for Noel. That's the one I want.
There is going to be a trade. It's just wondering when it's going to happen, how bad. I know that the GM, LeBron James, doesn't want Kevin Love there. wants to get him on out of there. So
Okay,
when LeBron says
I'm not getting into this discussion now because I know your hatred for LeBron is like up fucking here, and oh man, that's an armpit stain. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I don't hate LeBron. I don't love LeBron, so I'm right in the middle. And you're always funny when you talk so much shit on him. It's so funny.
he's a great player. He's a great player, but what LeBron says happens over in Cleveland. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do get a defensive star like that to have Kevin Love over here. I mean, he can shoot, so be interesting to see if they would pull the trigger on that.
That's just like media kind of fucking stirred shit up.
Right.
There's no way Kevin Love is leaving Cleveland.
You never know. Maybe Cleveland's getting worried.
I don't listen to reports most of the time because like I'm in the media and I know how it works and I know like you got to put shit out there to get clicks and I know that shit and it's all about the clicks, you know. So I really like limit who I read and who I listen to. Aldridge, for instance, I'll listen to him, you know, but if he says something, then I'll take him seriously. But like these other schmoes that I don't fucking know, no, I don't listen to any of it. I don't do
Some
it.
Sixers news, it's nice to see something still going out there. It's been a little slow in the basketball realm a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's cute to talk about, right? Like, and then you can bring it up, and then I'll just discredit it. I'll just be like, that's bullshit. Now I actually did kind of somewhat believe that traded for Nerlens were, but it never materialized. You know, it doesn't always materialize. Just because a trade was discussed doesn't mean it's going to happen.
True.
So, yeah. I fucking hate reports. I really do. Like it just no.
Some of them you read are just like so out there and not even believable. You know, it's like, oh, we're going to trade this guy for like Kevin Durant. So it's interesting to see that, but I also read reports, you know, Boogie Cousins could be going to Cleveland. It's like everything's coming out of Cleveland. But as you had said before, a lot of guys just like to get the attention out there, get stuff going. I mean, that's how the media is.
That's what it is. It's just like Dwayne from Swedesboro. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Fucking 97.5, The Fanatic. Pat Egan making up a character for Mike Missinelli.
The false callers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Funny because Sean Brace used to work at 97.5 The Fanatic, obviously, and he said like he doesn't listen to the station anymore. And you know when he was there, he knew about Dwayne from Swedesboro. He knew it was Pat Egan, and it was like all a joke on Missinelli. You know, Missinelli is you know it was just to get him riled up. And Missinelli literally for 2 years did not know it was Pat Egan. So, yeah, and you know, so yeah, he was talking about it like in his podcast the other day, and he was just like, "Wow, I didn't realize this Dwayne from Swedesboro was going to take off like and be this cult type of person," because he knew the whole time like it was Pat Egan. He didn't like, and then all of a sudden it got blown out of it got blown up the last couple of days. Crossing Broad came up with that story, but yeah. Anyway, we're deriving from topic now.
Are you happy? At least the Americans won gold for the third straight time. That's pretty impressive too. We should win every year.
I don't give a fuck about that. I wanted Croatia to win.
Wow, look at this guy.
Hey, it's you know what it is? It's like being a Yankees fan. When they win every year, who the fuck cares?
That's true. They don't do that anymore, thank God. But you're right, because they have so many championships.
I mean, obviously, like, you know, you watch them play, it's entertaining. You watch it for entertainment purposes. But, like, if they would have lost, would I have cared? No.
It's not that big a deal. We should win every year anyway. There should be no competition.
Yeah, they should be able to win that thing with, like, your best college players. Like, you know, realistically. Probably.
Legitimately, you would hope so. Although I have to give it to the Europeans. They do have a lot of talent over there as well. Not as much as the U.S., though. Like I said, we should own it every year. There should be never a dull year where we are even coming close. We should blow everybody out by 40 points every time.
Yeah, I mean, basically every team that Croatia played, like besides Nigeria, there were like multiple NBA players on these teams. So, Serbia, Nikola Jokic, or whatever the fuck his name is. I know who he is. I always butcher his name for some reason. Just like who else do I butcher? I don't know. I don't remember his name, but yeah, forget it. So all right, I guess we'll get to final thoughts time because we got to do a AFC East preview. That's coming up next on the agenda tonight. So any final thoughts before we head out?
I'm stoked for October 4th. I can't wait to see Embiid play. I'm ecstatic. 2 years of waiting. I cannot wait. I just want it to get here. I'm waiting for basketball season. Summer's over. It's very depressing, but all the fun sports come back. So yeah. I'm excited for that. Football, basketball, it's all coming back.
I'm going to make up a character and call 97.5 Fanatic every single day. No, but I'm like Sean. I stopped listening to talk radio too. I had a back in the day, I was in WIP's like internship game one year, and I was definitely the best one there. And Angelo picked the girl because she showed up in a fucking bikini every day, string bikini. This girl was drop dead gorgeous. Like I would have fucking bent her over right on the fucking table. But like what the fuck, dude? She was no talent at all. Just like what the fuck? And like
you know how that goes though. It's all about who you know, or you're a pretty girl with good looks.
Yeah, I mean, I tried hitting on her. I tried, couldn't get her number. I failed, but I shot my shot, and obviously, Angelo shot his load.
Yeah, he's a horn dog. You know how he is.
Clearly took tits over talent.
Well, good note. Josh Ennis finally got fired, so woo, that's a fucking plus.
Hey, like I said, I really don't listen to talk radio, but I'm glad he's gone because that motherfucker's a disgrace.
Complete garbage.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, WIP, for coming to your senses. Sign us up, please.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna get into talk radio anymore. It's all kind of like it's all bullshit. But yeah, we're out. Kyle Gaffner, I'm Adrian. Thank you. The show went a lot longer than expected. Later.
See you guys.